I'm Tim Brander. Welcome to Capitol Views. We're here today with Andi Story, the president of the Alaska Association of School Boards. Andi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So it's education is always a big issue in the legislature. People are constantly interested in schools. But tell me, what does the association do? The School Board Association is composed of how many school districts around the state?
Well, there are 53 school districts and 330 school board members. But I think you have to remember that we are elected officials and we are your neighbors and we are parents, grandparents, really involved and care about our kids, and we get elected to public office, and there's a lot we need to learn. And that's where the association comes in, because they are an organization that is there to give knowledge and skills to school board members so they can have effective governance and focused on student achievement, because we have a high stakes job. Our kids get one chance at an education, and we want to do a good job, and we come in there and we're hungry for knowledge, and we have an organization that has board standards. Just like teachers have standards and we have standards for our children, there are board standards in many areas. And you know, when you think about it, we have to know legal issues, we have to know how to do budgeting, we have to know how to set policy, know that there's got to be a couple of readings on a policy, we have to report out the data, we have to be able to understand the data. What do all these graphs mean? How are our children doing? There's just numerous examples of things that we all of a sudden really need to be keenly aware of. And so the association helps us do a good job with that. And
I would think also that having an association, our state is so geographically diverse that you're in Juneau, you're on the Juneau School Board, so having contact with school board members from rural communities would be very helpful, I would think.
Yes, and our board of directors, there's 15 of us, and by our bylaws, we each represent, we're from 5 geographic areas, and so there's usually like 3 from each of the 5 areas, and we are very, work together to kind of help the association decide what sort of professional development we should have, you know, what hot topics are happening, what do we hear from our fellow board members. We all are liaisons to different school board members in the other districts, and so we call and check in with them before we have a board meeting 3 times a year to, we evaluate our executive director, we look at our budget for the association, and we provide for what professional development we would like to learn more about.
Well, of course, money and budgets are always an issue that never seems to go away, this year like any other year. What, from the perspective of the Juneau School Board, I mean, how's Juneau done in the past few years?
We have, the last 5 years, we have had flat BSA funding from the legislature, and so we've, in the last 4 years, we've cut $11 million in about 114 positions, I want to say. And so, and within those means, a lot happens in education, you know, education trends, and we, as a state, we have heard and we know we have had lower standards, and so a few years ago, we adopted higher standards because we want our children to be nationally competitive, and we know they're very capable, and so we have to retool our staff, and we need some new materials and professional development, and that all costs money. So within making cuts, we still are making strategic investments too, or I should say reductions.
Have you lost teachers? Have you had to close down any programs?
We have lost some. Our cuts we've made, like 26% has been from administration, 12 from teaching. We've tried to keep it away from the teachers as much as possible, and we've had to cut. We cut like 7 special ed teachers last year. We've had to cut 1 career counselor. We've cut our 2 counselors in the middle schools. There's a lot of examples.
Does Juneau have a voc-ed program? Or
we do a vocational career technical program. And I did want to say we have had to, in the last few years, we've had to raise class size some, which has been really tough because class size matters, and that's been
difficult to deal
difficult
with.
Because we know our community, we all would like to have as reasonable class sizes.
So how long have you lived in Juneau?
I have been here like 28 years.
Yeah. So have the schools changed? Have you seen a lot of changes in the schools?
Well,
Obviously,
lots
you've been very involved.
Yeah, I have. In fact, that's how I got started, was with helping out at my child's classroom. Technology has really come into play. It just permeates everywhere you look. You know, you probably have a smartphone or technology, and really to have kids digitally literate is really important. And many children have access to devices at home, but we want to be able to have kids who don't have those devices at home to be able to be knowledgeable when they go out for life, career, workplace. Yeah. So that's been something that's been really important.
I would think, I wish there were a technology remedial class I could go to.
Right, and we have really got some really neat career technical classes in marine, marine biology classes. We've got some Project Lead the Way classes with engineering. We've got a great thing going with the universities for dual credit. So you'd be really impressed if you saw the things that we had going. So, and the legislature specifically funded some increments for career tech, and we've really appreciated that.
Yeah. Is there a pretty good relationship with University of Alaska Southeast in terms of dual credit programs?
Yes, they've been very helpful, and we just had our annual meeting with the provost and Chancellor Pugh and Joe Nelson, and the board tries to touch base. We have a memorandum of agreement and try and work really closely because we do want our students here to check out the local university, and we've actually had a big increase of students coming.
Have they really?
Yeah.
How much do you know any?
I'm sorry, I don't know the numbers.
But it's significant, made an
Yes,
impression.
yes, and people coming back to going out for school, realizing how expensive it is and the economic downturn, coming back home and really liking our local university.
Yeah, that's right.
I did want to say one thing else about the association, not only giving us skills, one of the things it does is it connects youth with their communities. We have an ICE program called the Initiative of Community Engagement, and we have programs set up where, like out in Nome, they have a school leadership program for the youth working with the elders, and they have, in Cussbuck, they have youth who are doing a community garden with their elders.
That's interesting.
And also trapping, a week in the classroom, week in survival skills. So really, because we know our communities are very valuable in supporting our kids, and that's what really gets student achievement going too.
Well, thank you. We're out of time. It's been very interesting, and thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So I'm Tim Brandon for Capitol News. Thank you.